Hi, Nutrition 101. Today we're going to talk about the theory of energy balance, which states that there are 3,500 calories in a pound. So when we look at 3,500 calories in a pound, this means that every time you eat more than 3,500 calories more than you need, you would gain 1 pound. And if you underconsume 3,500 calories, you would lose a pound. So what does this mean, overconsume or underconsume? Let's take a look. So if you consumed 2,250 calories per day, and your EER, or estimated energy requirement, was 2,000 calories per day, that would put you at a net gain of 250 calories, right? So let's pretend I ate 3 extra Christmas cookies a day, and that put me at right around 2,250 calories each day. If I continued to eat like this over 4 weeks, what would happen? So let's take a look at that. We would take 250, right? And that 250 is calories per day. And we would multiply that by 7 days per week. And we'd multiply that by 4 weeks to get the total calories that I've eaten in excess, all right? So if I take out my handy little calculator here, we can do this right on the calculator. So 250 calories a day times 7 days a week times 4 weeks equals 7,000 total calories, all right? So let's think about what would happen if I consumed this over 4 weeks. I would net gain 7,000 calories. So if there's 3,500 calories in a pound, what I would do next is take 7,000 calories and divide it by 3,500 to see how many pounds I would gain over the week. So I take 7,000 and divide it by 3,500, and I get 2. Right? So here are 2 pounds gained in 1 month. Now, let's pretend that it was the opposite, right? If I eliminated 250 calories from my day, let's say I was drinking a 20-ounce Coca-Cola every day and I took it away, then maybe that would take my total calorie intake to 1,750 versus 2,000 calories per day. And if I consumed the 250 less than I needed per day, it would be similar. It would be a net loss of 7,000 calories, which would then result in 2 pounds lost in 4 weeks. All right. So if we take a look at this, we can really use the theory of energy balance here to assess what we're currently doing. Say in iProfile, we can take a look at what are our current habits, how is our intake compared to our EER, and if we continue consuming this over an extended period of time, maybe we won't see weight gain on the scale in 1 day or 2 days, but over, months or years' time, we can really see a net gain or a net loss with pretty small excesses or deficiencies in calories. And this is one of the reasons that doing something in moderation in terms of adding a little bit of exercise or reducing a couple of cookies a day becomes a much more effective strategy in the long term, because you can really keep with that habit versus, totally trying to do a crash diet and eliminating full food groups, eliminating lots of calories, because that's going to put your body in such a deficit that it's going to be really hard to manipulate, the calories in, calories out, and manipulate hunger and appetite. These 250 extra calories a day, or 250 calories taken away each day, probably isn't going to be so noticeable in terms of your hunger and appetite, and you might be able to find lower calorie replacements for some of your favorite foods, or distract yourself with something else if it's just eating out of boredom sort of thing. So that's the theory of energy balance, calories in, calories out. You can expect to see this on any exam that pertains to Chapter 9. And this is a great little video to kind of keep on hand to remind you how to do those calculations. See you next time.